Good morning. This is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan. He's a Corgi, and we're here for an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And we're going to continue our talk today about things that we can learn from dogs. I mean, there's no end to the number of things we can learn from these amazing creatures. So today we're going to talk about smiling. Are you smiling, Tristan? He's sort of smiling. It's rather hot and humid today. So smiling, we all know, our mothers told us this, or our coaches, or somebody in our childhood. And there's an amazing story my colleague Debbie Potts tells, which is so funny. And I will not do it justice, but she was riding Arabian horses as a child in the Arabian costume class. And she had a beautiful Arabian costume that her mother's friend had made for her. And, you know, it had a bit of a midriff top, and then it had long flowing things behind it. And there was a similar one for the horse. And she was galloping around the ring, showing off her costume when there was a significant wardrobe failure and things were not in the costume anymore. And as she galloped past her mother just kept saying, "Smile, dear, smile." And I know this from my own mom when my horses were not doing what I had wanted them to do when I was at my early horse shows. God bless those horses for putting up with me. My mother would be on the side of the rail saying, "Smile, smile, look at the judge and smile. It's a pleasure class. Aren't you having fun?" So smiling did many things for us then besides, appeasing our mothers. When you smile, it changes the chemicals in your brain. You release oxytocin, which is the bonding or trust hormone, and serotonin, which makes you feel happy. And if you're happy and feeling comfortable, then you will breathe, and then your horse may calm down, be less tense, you'll be less tense, and you may, in fact, do better. And when I work with Linda Tellington these days, for many years, she has said it's really important to smile at your dog when you're working with him. And, right, Biscuit? Because it helps you breathe. But the release of these two neurotransmitters, oxytocin and serotonin, helps you be more of the kind of person your dog wants to be with. So when you smile at your dog, it was formerly thought that that was taken as threatening. Because it can be, you know, a smile like this and a thrust like, ah. And it's a little different, but dogs are super emotionally intelligent, and they sure as heck can tell the difference between a smile and a snarl, even on a stranger. They've done lots of studies on this. So Linda always asks us to smile when we ask the dog to do things, and of course to say please and thank you. And when she comes over and she says, "I'd like you to take a step forward, please," and then smiles, how can the dog not go? And the same for us as well. Or, "I'd like you to just stand there, please. Try to keep your weight over your four legs, please," and then smile. I mean, it makes such a difference to smile when you're asking your animals to do things. And there's some controversy about whether dogs really smile. Do they smile? Biscuit? Can you do one? He says, "Not when you're blowing on my nose." So dogs actually do something that looks like a smile to us humans. And of course we love dolphins because they have sort of a permanent smile, the way their mouths are shaped on their faces. But has that evolved over time to look like that because dolphins are indeed happy? And there's not sufficient studies that we can say definitely that there's a correlation between making that smiling movement with your mouth and also happiness. I don't smile when I'm meeting a new dog. Mostly when I'm around working dogs. Yeah, well, here's the thing. When you're meeting a new dog, smiling can be threatening. And for years, I mean, this is still taught in many dog training schools, Jerry, that if you smile at a dog, it's threatening to them, especially if you're hovering over them, because that's what people do. "Oh, a doggy!" And then they smile and, crowd them. But if you smile gently and breathe softly and use your soft eyes, like look at the whole area, the periphery, and not just stare down the dog's face. We always used to say in T-Touch, look at the horse's back opposite hind foot, and then you'll be not glaring at the horse. And of course, people really love to stare at dogs, so it takes a lot of training to look at the whole dog or the back end of the dog and still keep the front end in your view when you're greeting a dog. So Jerry has a good point. But now we have learned, and dogs have actually evolved to bond with us, especially in the last 30 years when we've been treating them better. And so they are now accepting our smiles and smiling back at us. And there are many, many people that love their breed of dog, particularly some of the smushy nose breeds, because they look like they're smiling more often than not because of the way they have to curl their lips to breathe. But maybe they are smiling. Who's to say? Nobody has been able to measure this. Yes, dogs emit extra serotonin and oxytocin when they're doing that kind of a grin thing. So I don't know. In my mind, that correlates to dog must be happy. Dogs tend to do this when they're contented and relaxed and therefore happy. You don't see a dog smiling when he is distressed. If there's a lot of dogs around, if there are dogs fighting over in the corner or, running after a toy, really animated, your dog is not usually sitting there smiling. He wants to join in. So that contented sort of happiness is what we see when a dog is what we would call smiling. With wearing masks, we have to smile with our eyes. That's right. Tyra Banks specialized in teaching people how to smile with their eyes. Smizing, she calls it. A dog can tell if you're smiling even with a mask, as can a person. Because of that change in your chemistry, everything about you is different. And I have been in the grocery store, I've tested this with strangers, where I come up to them smiling, just grinning away, and complete strangers will turn around and think they know me. And they can't see that I'm smiling, but they can tell that the way I am approaching them is like super friendly, like, hey, good friend, I haven't seen you in a long time. It's a pretty interesting experiment. Try it yourself when you're out somewhere with strangers and you're wearing a mask, because it really, one guy was so sure that he knew me. It took me a lot of convincing to explain to him that no, I just wanted to get around him to get to the milk cartons. Anyway, smiling is an important thing that we can learn to share with our dogs, and dogs do indeed smile. I know when Tristan and his little buddy Peanut were on the beach, they were sitting in the shade, looking out at the sea and smiling next to each other. So they were both happy then, and they often do that before they start yawning, and then they lay down and they take a nap, as any dog would when he's relaxing at the beach. So smiling, don't forget that smiling changes your brain. It changes the chemicals that you're emitting. It changes your smell. It changes how you feel. And you actually can make yourself a happier person by practicing smiling, because that motion of making a smile changes your brain so profoundly that it can make a difference. And I have a few people that I work with in my yoga classes and other areas of my life where they really do have issues with depression. And, instructing them to smile for like a solid 2 minutes every hour throughout a day, that's homework, that's hard work, but it really can change your situation. So smiling is very important. See, Danny says all of her dogs smile. She's got a lot of them, so she's an expert. And I certainly have seen all my Corgis smile. And I can see, like at a dog show, when I arrange them with their prizes, and they're out in the field, the grassy area by the parking lot, and I'm taking their picture, they smile because they're proud of themselves and they're content, and all the stress is over of mommy asking them to do things and not being very clear. I'm not the best director of an agility dog, I have to say, because I don't use any traditional training techniques. So in some ways it's easier. My dogs just follow me over jumps. I don't have to teach them that too much. They just do. But doing the weave poles, I'm doing it a completely different way than anyone usually does it. And it's taking a long time, but Tristan is a very good weave pole goer now, aren't you? Proud of yourself. Did it yesterday with no treats, 2 or 3 times, both directions. Yeah, that was something to smile about. So, smile, be happy, and you will become happy. Bernie Siegel really advocates for smiling. It changes how people interact with you. When you are out in the world now in these difficult times, smiling is even more important. And as Danny pointed out, even under your mask, smiling can make a difference to the people around you. In a restaurant, when you're ordering, smile. Be nice to people. What does it take to be nice? Not much. So practice smiling on your way in, and then if you have to wait a long time to get seated, if you're smiling, people will be nicer to you. And I was in a place once where I was doing this, and I was with a really grumpy person. I just wanted to sit down so she would stop being grumpy. And because I was so nice, they seated us early. So smiling can make a difference, like really consciously smiling. So take a tip from your dog. Smile when you're contented and relaxed, and to be contented and relaxed, smile. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Conversations with a Corgi, and we will, will I be here on Monday? No, I don't think so. Tuesday, I think I'll be back, and we'll be off over the weekend, and everybody enjoy their weekend. It's supposed to be really hot and humid. Great day for all the Corgi and dog dads in the world to celebrate some time lounging by the kiddie pool with their pets. Attract more bees with honey. Yes, it's true. And bees have stingers, so we do want to use the honey with them and not aggravate them. So thanks for joining us today. Everybody have a great weekend. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.